Good morning. My name is Ken Albert, and I'm President and CEO for Androscoggin Home Healthcare and Hospice, and I'm so pleased to welcome you today to our Veterans Day ceremony. When speaking of celebrating veterans, President John F. Kennedy once said that as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. Here at Androscoggin, we live every day by our commitment to honor the unique needs of veterans in the delivery of healthcare at home, wherever that may be. We operate from the premise that in war, there are no unwounded veterans. Veteran-centric healthcare often requires a unique approach to the physical, emotional, and social and spiritual aspects of care. As a Level 4 partner in We Honor Veterans, Androscoggin has implemented veteran-centric policies, procedures, and employee training to meet the special needs of those who defended our freedoms. Today and always, we are filled with gratitude for the women and men who served our country. It is our distinct honor and privilege to now serve you. Along with our partners with whom we join today, we wish you all a very happy Veterans Day.
In the early 60s, there wasn't much of anything in Lewiston, Auburn for a kid just graduating from high school. But in fact, there was nothing. The shoe shops were closing down, the textile mills were shutting down, so there's very little for a future. And the world was in slight turmoil at the time. Vietnam was starting to warm up, and being a gung-ho little American boy, I decided to join the Navy because I didn't want to fight. I ended up in the Marine Corps, attached to the Marine Corps. I was not a Marine. Never was that tough. But I ended up serving with the Marine Corps for 3 years. After I got out of the service, I did a lot of volunteering with other vets that were having the same problems I was having. And coming home at that time, we didn't have much respect from anybody. Matter of fact, we got none. So we tried to help one another, and that got me going and volunteering in that direction. Then I started my own business, went back to school, got my master's in heating, got my master's in electrical and plumbing, and started my own business. And so I could help people when I started teaching as a volunteer. So I've been volunteering all my life, to think about it, just now it dawned on me. But I took care of a dear friend of mine that was dying from colon cancer, and I took care of him every day of the week while his wife went to work at school. And my sister says, "You did such a great job with Fred. Why don't you find out from Androscoggin what you can do?" I said, "What do they do?" She said, "Dan, don't you remember they took care of him? They helped us take care of Mom." I said, "Great idea." So I made a phone call. And the rest is history. I've been here, I don't know how many years. It's 6 years, I guess, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I've taken just about every class that's offered. Doesn't mean I know anything, but I truly enjoyed volunteering with Androscoggin for many reasons. You've met the CEO, Ken, the president. He's one of the reasons, that I really enjoy volunteering here. And all the people that I've worked with here. So far, everybody I've ever worked with here really dedicated to the place, to the theory of this place. And I don't think it's a goal of this. I think it's a theory, a dream that this place has. And everybody gets sucked into this dream. And I think it's beautiful what we do for the patients, what we do for the families. I do in-home volunteering, and I do the hospice house, and I do grief calling, and a few other things. But, and then every one of them is so rewarding. People ask me, "How can you do this? You're working with dying people." I said, "No, I'm not. I'm working with people that are alive, and they have stories they want to tell, and they trust me, and they tell me these stories. and I walk away a better person each and every time. You know, it's a very humble position to be in, to be trusted by all these individuals with their deepest secrets. It's just a marvelous thing to do. You know, it's just, and I hope I live a long time, because I want to keep volunteering for a long time. You know, and at 78, you know, every day's a new day. Yeah. Well, I got started in hospice about a year and a half ago, and the one thing that led me to this interest, once I found out that what hospice did, was working at Togus as much as possible, because I know, and it's a wonderful hospice facility. It really is. It's a fantastic setting, and I have worked there for several months before COVID shut us down. And it was great to work with veterans and their families. And the one thing about veterans, I'm a Vietnam veteran, is over the years, veterans aren't, especially combat veterans, aren't always comfortable talking about what they've been through with anybody but a veteran. It's awkward. It felt good for me to listen to them. And if you're going to be a hospice volunteer, you have to do a lot of listening. And when you talk, what you're trying to do is get them to talk. And they're often very eager to open up about what they've been through and what they've done since then. And what I find interesting is when families there, they want to talk too. And they're so grateful for the hospice setting. It's the same thing at the Auburn Hospice, which is a beautiful place. I volunteer there as well. But they really do appreciate the opportunity to open up, and in many cases it's all about memories, not just Vietnam, but also what they've done since then. And you know, at the end of your life, looking back and taking pride in what you've done is a good way to say goodbye.
Hello, my name is Todd McKenna. I'm one of the veteran volunteers here at Androscoggin Home Health Care and Hospice. I'd like to take a moment to read to you a short story about Lieutenant Colonel John McKay. John McKay, a noted Canadian physician before the Great War, served in Canada's 1st Brigade Artillery as a surgeon. As he worked in sight of the poppy fields blooming across the battlefields and fresh graves, he crafted a moving testimony. The fields where the cemeteries lay was thick with scarlet poppies, their dormant seeds churned up by the guns, blooming despite or because of the carnage. Lieutenant Colonel McKay took the scene and quickly wrote a 15-line poem speaking from the dead to the living in Flanders Field. It was to become the most infamous poem of the Great War, perhaps any war. In Flanders Field, the poppies blow, between the crosses row and row, that mark the place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely sing, fly, scarce a herd amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We live, fell down, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with our foe, to you from fallen hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break, faith will us who die. We shall not sleep through poppies grow in Flanders Field. To all of the veterans that we've served here at Androscoggin Home Healthcare and Hospice, I would like to thank you for your service.
My dad left high school early to serve in the Navy during the Vietnam War, finishing his courses and earning his diplomas from the ships. On July 29, 1967, my dad was aboard the aircraft carrier USS Forrestal when an electrical anomaly caused the discharge of a Zuni rocket on the flight deck, triggering a chain reaction of explosions. My dad and a fellow sailor spent 28 hours straight hosing water onto a live bomb to prevent it from exploding and furthering the catastrophe, resulting in him becoming separated from his group for 3 days and an MIA notice being sent home to my grandparents. When he was finally reunited with his group and able to call home, my dad was awarded a citation for meritorious service for his actions during what has become known as the Forrestal disaster, events that are now studied during safety trainings. Nearly 20 years later, I was born, and my dad often shared stories of when the big boys went to the jungle. Though he left the Navy after returning home in 1969, service remained a portion of my dad's life for the remainder of it, dedicating his time to helping individuals struggling and seeking to overcome addiction. We lost my dad to cancer after a 7-month battle in 2009. When it came time to hold my dad's life celebration, because he did not want a funeral, we began nearly an hour late due to the amount of people still waiting in line outside and around the block to say their goodbyes. I will never forget these people, many I had never met before or since, shaking my hand and telling me my dad saved their fathers, sons, brothers, friends, or their own life. During one of our last conversations, my dad and I spoke openly about what things would be like after he was gone. He told me, "You are going to feel a lot of things you've never felt before. Find the people who look how you feel and help them. That's how you'll heal." 7 months later, I finished college and vowed to do exactly that through my career choice and my time. Keep my dad's memory alive by serving others in ways that I can. I am forever proud to be a sailor's daughter.
A big part of being in the military is support. Supporting the country, supporting the mission, supporting each other. At all levels of leadership, no matter your rank or position, there's an ingrained responsibility to support those around you that's been drilled into us since basic training. Basically, work together and succeed together, or work alone and fail together. There may be personal accomplishments, but no one person can succeed alone. I knew when I left active duty that I wanted to find a job that where I could use my talents to support people. And while my role here and in the military don't directly translate to healthcare, they do equal support. As a radio maintainer in the military, I had to diagnose problems with our equipment to keep critical communication connections running. As IT support here, I have to diagnose our equipment to ensure that our providers are able to perform their life-giving duties. They can't succeed without me. Androscoggin can't succeed without them. So if Androscoggin doesn't succeed, I don't succeed. Even if my work doesn't directly patch a patient's wounds or console a grieving family, I can take pride knowing that with every call that I answer, every email that I reply to, and every iPad that I hand out, I'm helping our clinicians perform that duty. So whether supporting a unit's radios to ensure that important information is communicated, or supporting a clinician's phones to make sure that they can communicate important information. Serving others is what we were trained to do, and we're very good at it.
In honor of all of our veterans who serve and continue to serve, we will be taking a moment of silence beginning and ending with the ringing of the chimes.
A simple act of bravery, a selfless single act, becomes the things of legend that all began as fact. No one wants to be a hero, the price is far too high. Most just do the basics, trying to get by. Some will do the impossible to change the course of fate, making sure that someone lives when it almost seems too late. Some may just get lucky, but most pay for their gift. And so heroes live forever as their stories we do lift.